In this video, I want to talk about OptiShield and also silicon carbide. This is actually pretty interesting. I just typed into Google AI, what is a ceramic coating? What came up is a liquid polymer primarily composed of silicon dioxide, SiO2, that is applied to a vehicle's exterior to protect its paint. Silicon carbide is the strength, it's the foundation or the base of the coating. There's silicon carbide SiC, there's silicon dioxide SiO2. So what sites it brings up, it says it brings up 18 sites. And of course, a lot of this is going to be, I'm actually surprised silicon carbide didn't come up. As much as I talk about it and write blogs and post about it, it brings up my arch nemesis, the silicon dioxide coating. Really doesn't make much sense. But anyway, must not be reading any of my stuff. I'm offended. But it's bringing up forum posts. September 23, May 25, June 25, and that's only the three. I'm not looking at any other 2023, 25, and it's 2019, 2025. So it's fairly new information. There's been a lot more recently in the last few years silicon dioxide conversation because a lot of new coatings, but really they're not new, just more coatings have been kind of dumped into the pro market and the consumer market as well. New companies have popped up, a bunch of new companies making new coatings, and they're all silicon dioxide, they're all SiO2. So that's why I think there's almost nothing talked about and written about and videos on YouTube or pictures on Instagram. There's really nothing about silicon carbide. And one of the reasons I want to go down this silicon carbide highway is because it's not being talked about. And it really is a shame. I'm kind of a little disappointed in that. I'm just going to tell you silicon carbide is superior to silicon dioxide. Silicon dioxide is easier to make, it costs less, it's more dummy proof, whether on the pro side or the prosumer, the consumer side. It's just a lot easier to deal with. It's more of a readily available material or synthetic compound. Silicon carbide is a little bit more difficult. It is a superior system, though. So I was getting ready to make this video, and then I typed it in, and silicon dioxide popped up. Silicon carbide, the reason silicon carbide is superior is because that it's all carbon, right? Just like a diamond. A diamond is 5 different types of carbons, if I understand correctly. I'm not a gem expert. I only know just a tiny bit. But as far as I understand, diamond has 5 carbons, and they all share electrons. So why it's so hard? So when somebody says, I use a diamond blade, I'm going to cut it with a diamond. Nobody ever says, I'm going to cut it with a ruby, or I'm going to cut it with a sapphire. No one's ever said, I'm going to cut this with a gold blade or a silver blade. It's always a diamond blade, a diamond drill bit, because it is the hardest material. Silicon carbide is carbon. So a carbon atom that's in a diamond, when a silicon carbide coating is put on to the clear coat, the electrons are shared. The clear coat is sharing electrons with the silicon carbide. In other words, they're not foreign to each other. They're actually known to each other. So when they share, they lock in and they hook. They actually become one. The coating is now part of the paint system. With that being said, there aren't very many brands of coatings using silicon carbide. If you got a coating on your vehicle and you didn't come to me, you probably have a silicon dioxide coating. Generally, they last a few years without intervention and they wear off. They need to be topped off every year. In other words, something put back on to kind of restore the silicon dioxide or the quartz back into it. And you can make them with following strict instructions. You can make them perpetually exist. So it's a lot more work, of course, less work than sealants and waxes, but it's more work than a silicon carbide coating. And a silicon carbide coating is more superior. It's going to be more like a diamond in the rough, no pun intended. Less people are going to use them, less companies put them out because they do want the pros, but they also want the consumer. So they want to offer something that's super easy, gives a nice warm gloss like wax does, whereas silicon carbide is more deep. It's a deeper color, it's a deeper gloss, and a higher shine. Less maintenance. With all of that being said, the coatings that I use have silicon carbide. There is a single layer that has a certain amount of silicon carbide. There's a four layer. The two base layers are nothing but they're even more silicon carbide, right? So the more silicon, more atoms are sharing more electrons with the clear coat. OptiShield, it's technically not in the category of a ceramic coating. It's so robust and so dense that it slips into the liquid paint protection film category, right? It is the strongest protection, is the best protection aside from paint protection film itself, which is much thicker. It's kind of more spongy. It is a lot more expensive. OptiShield is kind of right in between the coating and the paint protection film. Most people, I think 99% of drivers, do not need a paint protection film, but you might need more than a ceramic coating. OptiShield, that's where it comes in. So since it's not a ceramic coating, it's more viscous, so it's thicker. It's more dense. It has more silicon carbide in it. It has as much silicon carbide as it could possibly have. Ceramic coatings can only have so much silicon carbide because they're not dense enough as compared to like an OptiShield. If you made them more dense and you put more silicon carbide, then it would be OptiShield. It'd be a liquid paint protection film. So obviously we still want the coatings. Now we've created a silicon, an SiC silicon carbide with so much more density. To give you an idea of one layer of OptiShield, one layer of Optico Pro. Optico Pro is about 3 microns thick. The OptiShield is about 8 microns thick, and we're going to do multiple layers of that OptiShield. You can't do multiple layers of Optico Pro. Go into Optico Pro 3, and we're doing 2 base layers. And then if you compare that to the SiO2, the silicon dioxide coatings, vastly more. I mean, there really is no comparison to an OptiShield to anything silicon carbide, even a silicon carbide coating, especially silicon dioxide coating. If you want the best protection possible for your vehicles, impact and abrasion, as much as silicon carbide, a hard silicon carbide film can offer, then OptiShield is your choice. Even if it was just a single layer, it would be better than all the other coatings. Those coatings have their place. They're fantastic. There is no comparison against the OptiShield. That's what this video has been about. Thank you for hanging on. Thank you for watching. And I'm going to keep making content talking about silicon carbide because it is superior. It's superior. It's the longest lasting. Silicon carbide coatings are designed to last a decade or more without toppers. Thank you for watching this video. Appreciate it. And I will see you on the next one.